Hi everyone, my name's Emily, and I'm here to relieve Brett for a bit and talk a little bit about the problems that other Ajanib might have in this town. First thing I want to talk about is transportation. I don't know about you, but I'm not lucky enough or rich enough to have a car in this town, so I depend pretty much entirely on taxi cabs. Now, taxi cabs are nice, they're cheap, they're really cheap. Anyone who's come from Western Europe or America will notice they start at 25 cents and they go from there. The problem with taxi cabs is what you don't pay in fare, you pay for with other things. Usually really painful conversations. Basically, in Amman, you have a couple of different kinds of cabbies. The best cabbies are the ones who shut up. They don't say anything the entire ride. You get in the cab, they ask you where you're going, they take you there, you pay, you get out, you go on with your life. These ones are very hard to come by. More likely, you're gonna get someone like talks on his phone way too loudly the entire time, cabbie. They're always on their phone, whether it's al telephone or on their little microphone. You can't tell if they're talking to you or they're talking to their buddy. They're trying to write stuff down the whole time. عم بسوق سيارة وعم بيكتب وعم بيحكي على التليفون صوته عالي, and it's so annoying. God. The talks on his phone too much guy is really not all that bad. What's worse is the jerk who rips you off, cabbie. Now, I get this all the time. I've learned how to deal with it pretty well. First of all, you get the guy who doesn't want to turn on his meter. Now, there's one word for you Ajanib out there. If you want to know how to deal with this person, you just tell him Addad. Now, if he doesn't want to turn on his Addad, another word would come in handy. Shorta. Now, using the word shorta is probably going to scare your cabbie. He might actually tell you to get out of the cab, but most of the time it will shock him into turning on that little machine that makes such a big difference. Then you have the cabbie who demands an extra nus dinar, half a JD, or a full JD on top of your cab fare just because there's traffic. Well, I always tell these guys that welcome to Amman. Amman is all traffic. If you don't want traffic, then maybe you should go somewhere else, like Irbid. Then you have the guy that will take the most circuitous route possible, and finally, after about an hour and a half, will get you to your final destination. Now, I have very little patience for these guys, and as a new person in Amman, it's really difficult to know the streets, but usually you can tell if someone is taking you somewhere way out of the way, if it's taking an hour when it should take 10 minutes. Now, those are the sneaky ones, and usually what I do is just try to pay them as little as possible and just get out of the cab and run. The important thing is not to be intimidated by cabbies. Whether they want to get extra money from you one way or the other, you really don't have to pay them, and all you have to do is use the word shorta. That's your word for today. The next kind of cabbie I want to talk about is the overly friendly, take my number please cabbie. Now, these ones will never shut up, no matter what you do. You can put headphones on, you can answer all day long. They're still going to keep asking you questions. So you're from, where are you from? Germany? Switzerland? Britannia? America? Even if you don't tell them where you're from, even if you tell them you're from a different country, they will still continue to just badger you with all of these questions. So next they'll ask you, oh, you study Arabic here? You study Arabic? No, I work here, sorry. And he goes, you work here? Wallah, mashallah. Where is your office? I want to come and visit you. Where do you work? What is your work? Where do you live? Where do you go? What do you do at night, the weekends, you know, heck. This type of cabbie, no matter what you do, no matter where you're going, how short the trip is, will always find a way to show you pictures of someone's children most probably. His own children, his brother's children, his cousin's children maybe. He'll tell you about all of his distant relatives that live in your part of the world, whether you live in Washington, D.C. and his relatives live in Michigan, doesn't really seem to be a problem for him. So basically, you just have to look at the pictures and say, mashallah. And try to cut the conversation as short as possible. You know, use very short answers, and just, you know, you look at the pictures, you look away. Try to look distracted. Maybe play with your phone, play some words with friends. Make him think that maybe you have something better to do than look at pictures of his children. Now, this cabbie, when you finally do reach your destination, there's a big problem with him because he wants to make friends. You know, not only does he want your business, but he wants your friendship. So he'll insist that you take his number. Now, if you're lucky, the cabbie will have a business card. He can just hand it to you, you can take it, and be on your way. Most of them don't, so they'll tell you to take out your phone and record their number, and then, if you're really unlucky, they'll insist that you call them that very minute to make sure that you got their number correct and that you can reach them. If you need anything, they're ready. They're just so excited to serve you in any way. So if you happen to miss a couple of digits or you don't actually write down their number in your phone, the moment when they ask you to call them can be pretty stressful. But you know what? It's just part of life here in Amman and you just have to get over it. The final and possibly worst cabbie of all is the "marry me please," or one of my brothers, or one of my cousins, or one of my nephews, or really any distant relation of mine, please, please. This cabbie will, at some point in your trip, propose in some way or another. Now, sometimes they do it in a nice way. Sometimes they are really genuine and they're looking for love. What can a girl do? Sometimes they're greedy. They tell you about their first wife and how you guys are the same age and you'd get along so well. And then your kids, they wouldn't be so far apart in age. You could just be the best of friends. And sometimes they're jerks about it. Sometimes they tell you, "Wallah, you're 23, ma'ul. Listen, if you're 23, you should get married soon because you're getting old and Wallah, you're gonna be all old and shriveled and kaman sana, in another year, nobody's gonna want you." So these guys, what can you say to them? You can be polite. You can say no thank you, tislam, I have a boyfriend, I have a girlfriend, absar shu. They're still gonna propose to you, and I swear, I think I've turned down more marriage proposals than I have cigarettes in this country. Most of them have been from taxi drivers. As unfortunate as this situation is, you're stuck in this car with this man who keeps insisting that you marry him or someone else that he knows. There's only one way to really, really seal the conversation and make sure it never comes up again. And that's your word for the day, shorta. Threatening them with the police tends to make a guy just back off a little bit. That's all you can ask, really. Because at the end of the day, you need to get from A to B, and if a taxi is the only way to do that, then these guys, you're gonna have to deal with them. So 3 words for you at the end of this episode. Just say shorta. Bye-bye now.